Hello lovely, I'm really excited to show you my complete project life hybrid process. So I'm starting, as I start every week, with the photos in there in more or less the places that I want them to go. I've got a huge ass 12 by 12 on the right, and I am going to start putting in some scrapbooky things. And I have the digital kit. It's a Becky Higgins baby boy, baby girl value kits, and I'm looking at the preview just to see what I want to choose. And of course there's all these thumbnails within Windows that I can use. And what I like about digital kits is that you can completely edit them. So for example, this card, I mean, I don't think the mood today is applicable for my baby just being born. His mood is pretty crappy. I mean, he was in a really warm place for 9 months and now he's not. So I just took a brush and I'm covering that over. And I've got my week in review card over there like I do with every single week. And I just keep them in my template so that it's easy enough to do. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep it or not. I think that's pretty sorted, so I'm going to merge those layers together. I'm also going to try and stay organized, so I'm keeping everything in the order of the cards. And I'm going to rename them and crop them. And now I'm just going to go through all of the cards in the thing, and I'm just going to see which ones I like. And I'm going to bring them into Photoshop, and then a little bit later I'm going to decide if I want to keep them and where I want to put them. And I'm seeing a lot of these small things that I quite like, and so I'm going to add a whole bunch. I'm going to edit them a little bit so that they fit better with my style and the things that I like. And I think I'm going to make a cluster with this. And for that bit of magic, I used the spot healing brush tool, and it worked quite well because that wood is pretty constant. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works, but it worked for that one. So I just took out the top word so that I could add love a little bit lower than it came. Now I'm just going through all of those embellishments, digital embellishments I suppose, and I am moving them around. Now I'm absolutely atrocious at doing this in real life. I'm a little bit better at doing it in Photoshop, so we'll see how it goes. I am deleting that poor kitty. He's too busy. He makes things too busy. And the main ways that I like to quieten down these embellishments is by painting it over directly. So if it's got a solid background, that works well. I also like that magical spot healing brush tool. And then you can also copy the element and just paste it over, you know, if there's like a repeated pattern or something like that. And there I've put them into two groups, left clutter and right clutter. And that cloud I love so much, and he doesn't seem to be working anywhere, so I'm going to keep him on the left hand side for now and keep working at my little cluster. And I'm using pink and blue and yellow and all color elements, even though Elliot is a little baby boy, because I don't think that pink needs to stay with girls only. There I just swapped the direction of the bunny and I swapped him back. And I'm going to go through this journaling card and I'm just going to erase it so that I can get this cluster around. And you can see this is kind of like fussy cutting, I suppose, the eraser, the way I'm doing it like this. I'm not using my Wacom tablet, I'm just using my mouse and I'm going slowly. And the thing that I always forget to do with an eraser is to let go, because if you make a mistake you can't control Z it unless you've let go. And then I'm going to fit that into the cluster. And it ends up not working in the end. That's okay, we'll keep going. Then I like this, but I do not like the whole thing. And for the cluster, I just want to get this little circle out. So I am holding in Shift tool to get that a proper circle. And I'm going to make a clipping mask. And I've got a shortcut that I made for myself, which is Control Shift C. Otherwise, I think you can right click. And this is all sped up quite a lot. It's sped up 600%. So this is going way quicker than I do normally. Let me know if it's going too quickly for you. I'll make a few more videos where I actually explain how to do these. But for now, I mean, it's just quite interesting seeing my process and seeing the way I do things. Just changing the transparency there, trying to make it look a little bit like filmy. And there I'm trying to use the magic eraser for that, and I'm just seeing if I want it or not. The magic eraser just takes away all the white space. Okay, and because I've reached a stagnant point on the right, I'm going to try and see what I want to happen on the left. I'm still trying to make that poor cloud work. This is looking very busy to me, so I'm going to go through this Crate Paper Cute Girl collection and see if they've got anything that might work. I'm going to adjust the transparency and the fill of that to see. Maybe I can make that more blue. That unicorn is freaking cute, so he gets to go in the cluster. He gets to peek out over there. And I'm going to open up a new thing just for all the little bits. And you can see I am just going to put them all there because there's no way that I can do this digitally. I'm going to just do that in real life. Still working with that background. I can't quite figure it out, and I'm playing with all the blend modes over there. Those are fun to play with. I love digital paper. They make me happy. I also do something called a snapshot, and what that does is Photoshop takes a little snapshot of where you are at the moment, and you can go back to it. So if I want to, if I'm not sure of how something's looking, then I'll take a snapshot, and then I'll carry on, I'll take another snapshot, and then I can quickly go between the two and figure out if they're working or not. And since that bottom right page is quite busy, I think that the one behind the week 7 looks quite nice with the plain wood. There I'm going to take away that, and I'm using the magic heel, and you see it worked perfectly there. Absolutely beautiful. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to go over more than one. And just like with my traditional project life process and everything that I ever do, this is all just trial and error, testing something. Oh, it doesn't work, try again. And there we go. I think that is one of my favorite papers of all time, so I'm super stoked that it was digital and I could use it. And I'm just going to add a bit more from the collection into this just to tie it all together. I really love this washi, but I don't like that saying. And there I'm using the magic fixer tool thing, and it's not really working perfectly. You can see I have to go over it a few times. I'm just changing this with the hue saturation. I'm going to get that color from the blue, and I made it gray in black and white, and I'm just going to put the blue one over, change the opacity, and make it look semi-realistic. Like it doesn't have to look perfect for me. I'm happy with that. I think that blue looks pretty realistic. And it matches that I love you so much. I love you this much. Now I'm just trying to figure out if that's okay, what this needs. I'm seeing if I want to take that week in review card out. I'm making that layer transparent and not transparent to see the ones between each other. And there I want the word baby, so I'm just deleting everything around it. And again, with that magic eraser, I'm going to make that black and a little bit transparent just so it looks more realistic. I do not like that ABC. And so I'm going to copy that part of it. I'm slowly dragging it to get the lines equal. As you can see there, I'm trying to get quite exact. I'm going to take that one out because it doesn't fit perfectly in the pocket. And then I'm going to add some data, and I'm using the Splendid 66 typeface, which is my favorite typewriter one. I'm going to change that to kilograms and centimeters because I am in Germany and we don't use pounds and inches. What did I say? Anyway, I mean grams and centimeters, whatever it was changed from, and I'm going to use the paintbrush to go over it. And I think that that looks pretty consistent to what it used to look like. Going through some more embellishments. And when I go through embellishments, also look and see if there's anything that I can work with. Sometimes digital elements are really easy to work with and sometimes they're not at all. And since I've been doing it this way for so long, I really can tell the difference. And there I'm just trying to make sure that all the layers are together, that not everything is not all over the place. I'm looking to see if it goes well anywhere else. Sometimes I resize it with my mouse and sometimes I give an actual inches or centimeters amount. I really, really like this embellishment, so I think that this is going to get its own little pocket. And I'm going to set this up for printing. I've got this template which is just grid lines so that it can easily be put on the page. I've also got another template where I use clipping masks. And once I've got a full sheet, we can go print. I think the other inkjet paper works quite well for what I'm using. I'm using Clairefontaine cardboard. And then while that is printing, I put that into a little group. I hide the group and then I carry on. And I put it into a group in case something bad happens with the printer because I don't save these things. This page is getting a lot of the embellishments. And for example, that little banner and that full of happiness and joy, those are getting their own thing. I'm not going to put them as they are in the digital thing. With the cluster, I'm putting it in as it is. And for the part that I wanted to make look as though it was vellum paper, I repeated the photo so that the transparency could be carried on into a new document for printing. Does that make sense? And I'm lining it up so that it is easier when I'm using my trimming tool. And then I'm hitting print and I'll see you on my table. Dum dum dum, table done. And once I've printed my digital elements, then obviously the first thing to do is go through it with my paper trimmer. This Fiskars one is the best paper trimmer I've ever used. It's honestly, it is amazing. I don't know how people use the guillotine every time. And as I'm saying it's amazing there, I'm going to touch up with my pair of scissors. But this is the first trimmer that I've found where I can cut between two journal cards and actually not have like a whole bunch of white space between it or weirdness, you know? So I'm just making these clusters a bit easier before I go in there with my scissors. But I'm just fussy cutting them out and I'm leaving a white line around them purely because I am too lazy. I've seen a lot of people use smaller scissors for the fussy cutting, so I whipped my ones out. But as it turns out, no, I don't know. I much prefer the bigger scissors for this. So those are going out, and I've put my photos in already. So now I'm just putting them down exactly like how I had them in Photoshop. And because hybrid and digital, you know, like when you're making digital, things look very flat. Even if you put in fake shadows and all of that, things still look quite flat. So what I do like to do with my things is to, like, you know, like if I've got an extra embellishment, instead of just printing out a 4x6 card with all embellishments in it and all of that, I actually just print them out as if they were individual elements. Even though I know exactly where they're going to go, it just adds a bit of dimension to an otherwise flat page. And these are my all-time favorite alphas. They came in my Studio Calico mini book class that I did with them, but I've never been able to find them again. I'm super sad. And I'm putting that onto the 4x6 card along with my little baby's name. This one I'm also adding some text to. Adding some handwriting to that journal card as well. And then I can staple it into this, and I am happy with that. I hate using glue. Also like sticking things on the outside of the pockets, mainly because I'm lazy, but let's say that it gives like good dimension to it as well. For that little baby thing, I tried tearing the edges to make it look a bit fancy, but it didn't really work. I think it's probably the paper, probably me, probably a host of things. It didn't exactly do what I wanted, but I was happy with that, so we're gonna leave it like that. And then if I'm ever stuck with where things should go, I always like to put the pockets in that can be put in and finish those off, and then I can focus just on the ones that I'm not getting to. So even though I have got a very exact look that I want to go for when I'm making things in my Project Life template, often when they're out in real life, it's not exactly, doesn't feel right, and then I'll change it. And because this is a very, very special layout, I'm whipping out my Nuvo dots and some enamel dots too. And I want to make it look a little bit fancier than just a regular Project Life week. This was the week that my son was born. Very exciting week. And so that's getting some special things. These little dots have their stickiness off, so I'm putting on glue, which, oh my word, I hate using glue so much. I'm trying to just remind myself, okay, it's for the baby. It's for the baby. It's not for the baby, but whatever works. And I printed out these stars, but there was no way that I was going to cut all of those stars out, so I am ignoring them. And I'm using that paper as a Nuvo, you know, because like when you squeeze it out, sometimes it squeezes out everywhere. That's not great. So I'm just getting them ready on that scrap piece of paper. And then I'm putting some on top of the plastic and some on the actual picture. And I am not very good at this. I think D and Essie are very, very good at this, but I am not. I don't know where to put these things at all. So I'm making a little bit of a mess, and that I am making weird little dots that are not really dots. I'm way too enthusiastic with this. In the end, it works out, but not working out right now for me. And luckily, Essie told me that these things take years to dry. Literal years. But eventually they do dry, and then I can slip everything into the pockets. And with that, I am done for this very special week.